They said nothing was planned. No announcement, no hint, no carefully timed statement. And yet, on one quiet evening in Beijing, a single black car entering a private residential compound was enough to unsettle an entire industry. Within hours, speculation spread faster than any official news ever could. Why would Liu Yuning appear at Zhao Lusi's family home, away from cameras, away from red carpets, away from public scrutiny? This was not a promotional meeting. It was not a secret romance reveal. What unfolded behind that closed door was far more unsettling and far more human than anyone expected. It was the aftermath of a moment that many had already tried to forget. A moment at a glittering gala where elegance cracked for just a second and where silence became louder than confrontation. Tonight, we are not here to relive rumors for shock value. We are here to understand why one quiet apology carried more weight than 1,000 public statements, and why this story continues to resonate with viewers across cultures, ages, and borders. To understand how it reached this point, we need to return to the night everything changed. The Spring Entertainment Gala was meant to be a celebration of success, achievement, and prestige, a place where careers are affirmed and futures quietly negotiated over polite smiles. Zhao Lusi arrived that evening at the peak of her momentum, admired not only for her work, but for her reputation as someone gracious and grounded in an industry that rarely rewards restraint. The atmosphere around her was celebratory, almost effortless. Then, in a crowded passage between tables and flashing cameras, something unexpected happened. A brief physical contact, easily dismissed by those who wanted to look away, but unmistakable to those who saw it clearly. A deliberate obstruction, a shoulder collision, a moment charged not with accident, but with intent. Zhao Lusi did not react the way many expected. There was no raised voice, no visible confrontation. She steadied herself, adjusted her posture, and walked on. Yet those closest to her noticed the shift, a hesitation in her steps, a tension in her hands. In an industry where every expression is dissected, her restraint spoke volumes. The woman involved was later identified as someone from Liu Yuning's past, a former partner whose relationship with him had ended months earlier, officially without conflict. But time, as it turns out, does not always resolve emotional imbalance, especially when career trajectories diverge so sharply. What followed was not a scandal manufactured by headlines, but a slow-burning moral dilemma. Online discussions grew louder, not because of sensationalism, but because of perceived injustice. Viewers recognized something deeply uncomfortable. A public space where one woman absorbed harm in silence, while another redirected unresolved pain outward. As the footage circulated and interpretations multiplied, attention inevitably shifted to Liu Yuning himself. Not because he caused the incident, but because of what it symbolized. In the eyes of the public, his silence became a question mark. Not a verdict, but a test. This was never about choosing sides in a romantic narrative. It was about accountability without obligation, about whether someone can or should step forward when harm originates from their personal history. Liu Yuning did not rush to social media. He did not release a statement crafted for damage control. Instead, he waited, and then, quietly, he acted. Sources later revealed that he chose to address the situation privately, in the most direct way possible, by going to Zhao Lusi's home, by facing her family, by offering an apology not required by contract nor demanded by law, but guided by conscience. The presence of Zhao Lusi's mother transformed the meaning of that visit. In many cultures, meeting a parent is not symbolic, it is definitive. It strips away public personas and forces individuals into their most honest roles. No cameras, no audience, just accountability. This was not about restoring an image. It was about acknowledging that emotional harm does not disappear simply because it was unintended. It was about recognizing that silence, while sometimes dignified, can also place an unfair burden on the injured party. What makes this story resonate so deeply is its restraint. No dramatic confrontation followed, no public reconciliation scene. And yet, viewers across continents felt something rare: emotional closure without spectacle. For some, it was relief. For others, validation, especially for those who have experienced being wronged without the energy or safety to fight back. This was not a tale of heroes and villains. It was a reminder that growth often happens offstage, in moments no one is meant to see. Perhaps that is why this story lingered. It challenged the idea that responsibility must always be loud to be real. It suggested that dignity can exist without triumph, and that apologies, when sincere, do not require witnesses. In an age where outrage is currency, this quiet resolution felt almost radical. It invited reflection rather than reaction. And for many viewers, it restored a sense of balance in a space often driven by extremes. If this story moved you, it may be because it mirrors real life more than fiction ever could. Moments where we hope someone will step forward, not because they are forced to, but because they understand what is right. Moments where healing begins not with exposure, but with acknowledgement. Thank you for spending your time with Star Watch Now. If you appreciate thoughtful storytelling that looks beyond headlines and into the human choices behind them, we invite you to subscribe to the channel. Your support allows us to continue bringing stories that respect nuance, empathy, and quiet strength. Leave a comment if this story resonated with you, and let us know what perspectives you'd like us to explore next. Until then, thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you again.